Hi all, welcome to the Stewardship Network's monthly webcast. Really pleased to have you here with us today. I'm Lisa Brush with the Stewardship Network, and I would like to invite you all to sit back, relax, enjoy some spring challenge results, as well as our guests from the Eastside Community Network in Detroit. So really pleased to have you all with us. Great, Mackenzie, thanks for dropping in the chat. Friends of Detroit River here in Taylor, Michigan. Go ahead and drop in the chat where you're tuning in from, and as well as make liberal use of the chat throughout this time, throughout this hour, as we as any questions pop up or comments that you may have. I want to tell you a little bit about the Stewardship Network if you don't know about us. We are a 501c3 nonprofit with a 20-year award-winning history. We have 20 geographically place-based member communities, of which Mackenzie has been a part, and Melanie, who just dropped in from Ottawa County. Welcome, Melanie, who do kind of on-the-ground collaborative stewardship, as well as kind of learning and engagement events, networking, getting to know each other. And these webcasts happen each and every second Wednesday of the month. If you're new to the Stewardship Network's monthly webcast, you can find us here during the Eastern Time Zone's noon hour, each and every second Wednesday. We've been doing these for 15 years, back before this is how we got together. Our mission is to connect, equip, and mobilize people and organizations to care for land and water in their communities. And we just wrapped up our spring challenge that ran from April. So I'd like to turn it over to Rachel, who really ran this program, to share with you information about our spring challenge.
Awesome, thank you, Lisa. All right, so the spring challenge started back in 2008, and it's always been about collaborative stewardship and just the collective impact we all have doing stewardship activities in our different places, but really putting numbers together to see how much we're doing for the environment overall in the spring. So it started off as the garlic mustard challenge, and then as the Stewardship Network got bigger, it expanded to the invasive species challenge. And then this year we added even more stewardship categories and even a creative element to the program. So we're pretty excited about the program this year. So as I said, it's the most inclusive program yet. And I'll talk a little bit about the creative element first. It was so exciting. We had folks from all over the network, whether they were outside doing work or not. Anyone who's inspired by nature or the spring were encouraged to share their art, their songs, their poems, their quilts. And we were able to share that throughout the network to really celebrate spring and these talented folks within our network. So in the compete category, we maintained our tradition of removing invasive plants, but you could also report hours for applying herbicide, prescribed burning, monitoring projects, planting, picking up trash, cleanup, or really anything else you're up to in terms of stewardship. So we'll get into the results for this year. Our goal was 25,000 hours, which was a little daunting back in April when we started, but our total ended up being over 36,000 hours, which we are thrilled. And we also, go to the next slide, had the most participants we've ever had. So we recorded hours for over 7,000 people. So this is the breakdown of the categories for everything that you guys reported. We had a ton of people out doing beach cleanups, park cleanups, picking up trash on the trail. We maintained the tradition of pulling invasive plants. What was just garlic mustard in the beginning, now we had over 40 different species reported. People's monitoring projects were so cool to see. It was everything from water quality and catching macroinvertebrates to the monarch butterflies returning to Manitoulin Island. Planting everything from vegetable gardens to trees to reseeding restored prairies. And then for other people were out teaching, they were out raising mason bees, like just really cool stuff, people reporting all of their stewardship projects. So we had the most participants from the state of Michigan, but had pretty good representation throughout the Great Lakes Basin. Also some folks from Ontario and California participated. And so since the beginning of the program, we've recorded hours for over 25,000 people. And when you place a value to that monetarily, it comes out to $7.8 million worth of value poured into our ecosystems, and also 2.4 million pounds of plants removed from our native ecosystems. All right, and then Lisa's going to walk us through the winners for this year.
Right. And so then in 2022, we had our Solo Cup, which was awarded to the person who just individually reported the most hours into the spring challenge. And that award goes to Tony Spears. Tony Spears is a dedicated steward and has been over decades really been working to remove invasive species. And she has also shared that she has, yay, congrats, Tony, you're on the board. And Tony has also shared that, in this work, we all know that it can feel really overwhelming. Like, am I ever going to make a difference? Am I making a difference? How does this all add up? And as you all know, that's the whole vibe around the Spring Challenge, is that we're all in this together and we are all making a difference. And so Tony has also shared that she has seen that difference, right? So she shared that, in a place where, she removed bags and bags of spotted knapweed, there are just 2 plants now, or she walked back and saw an array of Michigan lilies, and just so the land really does respond to our care of that. So again, congratulations, Tony. Thanks for all the work that you do. So the Partner Cup goes to the organization from outside of our member community network that reported the most hours, and our 2022 winner goes to Alliance for the Great Lakes. So again, Julianne and your team of amazing volunteers for all the beach cleanup that you do, congratulations. We're really pleased to be affiliated and work together. So again, thank you. If you all want to learn more about the Alliance for the Great Lakes, go to greatlakes.org and you'll find more about them. The Root Cup. So this is the Root Cup going to the partners or member communities who pull the most pounds of invasive plants. So again, back to our roots. This is the heritage of the Spring Invasive Species Challenge. And the 2022 winner goes to our West Michigan Conservation Network, and over on the West Michigan, on the west side of the state. And again, congratulations to Melanie and your entire team. And I can't see all of the other people, Melanie, there you go, who are here from West Michigan, but thank you all for the work that you all do over there. It's really an amazing group for me. That when we started the West Michigan Conservation Network, it was 3 groups sitting in a basement talking about how we might come together to collaborate. And they now have over 60 groups who are working together. And if you'd like to learn more about them, go to wmconservation.net. You can learn more about the West Michigan Conservation Network and the amazing work that they do. And Jason's on the line. He's wondering, he's like, man, Jason and Melanie are really usually going back and forth. We watch the hours come in for the award of the Community Cup. And so this goes to the member community who reports the most stewardship hours into the Spring Challenge. And West Michigan was stealing the lead from Huron Arbor, and then Huron Arbor would take the lead. And then the 2022 winner is Huron Arbor, so our Huron Arbor member community. And so exactly, West Michigan and Huron Arbor back to back. They are often talking smack throughout the spring about who's going to win. So again, congratulations to Jason Frenzel and all of the team of Huron Arbor. If you want to learn more about the work that they've been doing since 2005, you can find them on our website at stewardshipnetwork.org. So again, congratulations to everybody. Thank you all for the work that you've done. Really pleased to have this great celebration of our connection with our environment and nature. And so thank you all for the work that you all do. Really pleased to be able to be here with you all every second Wednesday of the month, as well as throughout the year during different kinds of times. But again, congratulations to you all. So now I would like to introduce our colleagues at the Eastside Community Network, talking about resident leadership and stewardship on Detroit's East Side. So I'm really pleased to be here today with Ricky Ackerman, Erin Stanley, Bethany Howard, Loretta Powell, and Tammara Howard. So welcome. Thank you all for joining us.
Happy to be here. And can we take over the screen share?
Yep, I'll stop sharing and you can just take it over.
Okay, and we're using new technology, so sorry if it gets a little weird. There we go. But hello, everyone. I'm Ricky Ackerman. I am the Director of Climate Equity at Eastside Community Network. Just going to go through a little bit of what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to give a little overview of ECN and the work we do. Then I'm going to pass it to one of my colleagues, Erin Stanley, who's going to get into sort of the context of Detroit that we work in, specifically diving into the vacancy that exists here. And then we're going to get into our fellowship program and hear from a couple of our amazing resident leaders talking about the work they've done in their neighborhoods, and end it with Bethany Howard, who's going to talk about some of our ongoing work. So just to give a little overview of ECN, who we are as an organization. So we develop people, places, and plans for sustainable neighborhood growth on Detroit's East Side. We really work with to be resident driven and center residents in everything we do. A lot of residents, including the ladies you're going to hear from later, are on our boards, on our committees. They're driving the work, and we're really trying to set them up to lead in their communities. We're really trying to create a healthier, more vibrant environment for our residents, and help them sort of take on that leadership role. In the climate equity department, which is made up of me, Erin, Stanley, and Bethany Howard, we're really working to educate people around climate resiliency, climate change issues, how it relates to health and equity in our communities, and how we can start to push for policy and programs that are going to help us prepare so that our communities are not so negatively impacted by climate change, and that environmental justice and injustice doesn't perpetuate into the climate change impacts that we see. And so that's sort of a broad overview. We're going to get more into detail now as I pass it to Erin Stanley. So take it away, Erin.
Great, thanks, Ricky. So just to give an overview of where we're at, how we got here with the land and open space issues we have here on the east side. You know, blight is something that Detroit has struggled with for decades, but the last decade has brought an exorbitant amount of both blighted houses and vacant land. And we wanted to provide some context because I know everyone's seen in the headlines narratives about Detroit being like a blank slate or having so much vacant land that, you know, you could fit the whole city of San Francisco. I remember that was a big headline. And that we had over 40 square miles. And so again, that didn't happen by chance. We wanted to provide some context. So everyone probably remembers, yep, we'll go here, thanks. The Great Recession started in around 2008. And that led to a simultaneous crisis of mortgage foreclosures and also property tax foreclosures. The property tax foreclosures really devastated Detroit. As you can see on this map, this is the amount of foreclosures since 2002, actually. We call it colloquially, that's a hard word. We call it a hurricane without water. Because if you look on this map, I mean, it truly decimated our city. We lost 1 in 3 homes to property tax foreclosure. And it was the largest property tax foreclosure crisis since the Great Depression in the 30s. But what's interesting about what happened here is it's not just because people weren't paying their taxes. The city of Detroit actually systematically violated the state constitution by overtaxing its residents to the estimated amount of $600 million. That amount has yet to be paid back. And a lot of people were paying illegally inflated taxes and also were eligible for an exemption based on their income, but there were several barriers and people shouldn't have been paying these taxes in the first place. A lot of people that were below the poverty line. So a big crisis here. This is kind of a vision of what it looks like and how that, you know, people might think, what do the houses have to do with it? We're just seeing these lots and these fields, but the houses it's really important to connect these two. So this is just a system, you know, the cycle that the taxes are too high and people can't afford these high taxes. The home goes into foreclosure and then the investors buy the property or it goes to the land bank and then it just kind of sits there and deteriorates. And then we have this blight crisis and demolition campaign that we see now. These are pictures that, you know, I've taken that kind of show like the visual of that cycle. And the one on the bottom right is kind of why we're here today. So now we have a lot of land here on the east side and people who have been here and committed to this community. And that's what we're going to highlight is how we're stewarding this land now that, you know, kind of following this crisis and finding ways to care for the houses and the people and the land that remains. This is just kind of a graph to show, you know, after these foreclosures, now we have a huge, like a historic demolition campaign coming from our city government that started probably in 2015, but has been, you know, further amplified with Proposal N, which started or was passed in 2020. So this is like our service area and just an idea of homes that have been demolished are in green and ones that are on the pipeline for it. Or no, wait, the ones that are completed are in red, sorry. The ones on the pipeline are in yellow. And yeah, I'm trying to figure out yes, anyways, it just shows all of these homes are going to be or have been demolished already. So pretty big impact here. And so that brings us to our Lower East Side action plan and kind of what we're trying to do about this. So the action plan started around 2009, and what we're working in right now is actually phase 3, which came about in 2017, where residents really came together to identify, what do we do with all of this open space, land vacancy, and kind of quality of life issues that have come about since the recession and kind of population decline and housing loss in the city. And residents identified open space and blight as really big priorities, and have since we've been working on ways to engage with green stormwater infrastructure. We had a blight committee, which now is a neighborhood improvement committee that's working on cleaning up neighborhoods. And then we have the Sustainability Fellowship, which we'll get into in a minute. So this is from the Lower East Side Action Plan, just identifying like, all right, what's the current state of lots that we have on the East Side, and how can we work to kind of bring projects together? So rather than just have disparate, people doing disparate things with different lots, but rather have like kind of a network of engagement with land and open space on the East Side that both promotes the social and ecological health of the community. And these are some of the ideas that came out of this plan. So having like vegetative green buffers along commercial corridors, as well as having, as I said, green stormwater infrastructure and coordinating that so it has the largest impact around flood reduction, and having riparian buffers and restoring some natural areas as well. And then that brings us to the Sustainability Fellowship that we want to highlight today. This is one program among many that ECN runs, and this fellowship kind of is run in conjunction with our Community Resources and Wellness Department, as well as Climate Equity. It's a training and development program, anywhere from a year to a year and a half long. Fellows receive a stipend. They develop community projects, and they receive training throughout the year in both community leadership and stewardship. So these are some pictures of some of our fellows in action. We're currently in the 3rd cohort. And so the fellows you'll hear from are from the 1st cohort and the 2nd cohort. So they're both alumni as of now. As I mentioned, they receive professional development, project funding, so like grant funding they can apply for, as well as stipends for their participation in the actual training. Some of our sample classes have been around, how do you navigate community partnerships and like leverage funding opportunities? What's the water system? Why do we have flooding in Detroit? What's the issue with our combined sewer system? How do we as leaders show up, and how does our different leadership style matter when we show up? And how do we best engage our neighbors in our projects so that we're not just, hey, we have this great idea, so we're just going to do this, but rather make sure we have buy-in and involvement. Air quality, what climate equity and climate justice even are, and kind of what's environmental justice, and then self-care and avoiding burnout. These are just some example topics that we've covered in this last, 6 months. All right. So now we're going to get into highlighting our stewards. We have Tammara Howard and Loretta Powell here to share their stories of their community-centered projects that kind of came out of their LEAP Sustainability Fellowship experience, but also is continuing on way beyond the fellowship as well. So we're going to turn it over to Tammara Howard first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tammara Howard, and I'm the Executive Director of What About Us, Inc., a nonprofit 501c3 organization in the Belvedere Community Youth Block Club. I have been a Lower East Side resident for 52 years. I am a proud parent of 3 sons and 3 grandchildren who I love so very much. Over the years, I have always been blessed to be active in my community. I started the Belvedere Youth Block Club in 2000 and started What About Us, Inc. in 2014. My goal has always been community building. Excuse me, I'm a little nervous. My goal has always been community building. Wait a minute, I lost my spot.
All right.
Okay, been blessed to be active in my community. I started the Beverly Youth Block Club in 2000 and started What About Us Inc. in 2014. My goal has always been community building and family engagement and parental involvement. And I have been loving, and I believe, loving, caring for the well-being of each other. We could and would have great communities that could work together. I am a regular volunteer resident in my community, and I sit on various boards in my community. In 2019, I was in the Sustainability Fellowship Program, and my project was What About Us Inc. Live, Learn, and Love. It was formed with the idea of building a healthy, safe space in the community, where the community can have a space to meet, mingle, and do exercise and learn to eat healthy with workshops and cooking demos, and to have various workshops on the overall health and wellness. A place to relax, read, or just meditate with activities of horseshoes, mini putt-putt golf, fire pit, and movie night. And the whole project and space was for the community to build and work together to make our community a great place to live with being healthy and safe for the overall family. And this is some of the pictures that we have in our community where the youths are help making it happen. And also the adults, residents in the community are doing the build in the area. So we had 5 lots. And we made it all into activity space where we have our young, they start young, you gotta teach them young. You know, and he's not even 2 years old yet. And he knows that you have to water them plants in order for them to grow and how we can eat healthy. And also that's me with our council president, Mayor Sheffield, and also the rest of the youth in the planning. So this just to show that we all work together to make this happen. And that's why we all can enjoy it together. So this is just some of the pictures of the things that we have been doing in the community with the space that What About Us Inc. had purchased from the land bank. Thank you.
What's going on?
And also right here is where we have one of our members, Letitia Johnson. She's planning to make the raised flower beds. And then we have an event where we had a healthcare agency come out and talk to some of the residents about ways to stay healthy. And the reason why it's just not a whole crowd of people is due to COVID. We had to cut down the size, but normally we have at least 100 people or more sometimes come out and when we do our work days. So people come on different days to help out with the project because we all couldn't all get together and do it together this time, due to COVID. But as you can see, we do have people that came out to be a part of it and to help build this project. So now we have a Oakwood Health, and then we have another young lady, Michelle Jackson. She's talking about the water project, water and land project. And then we have where we had our community event, What About Us Inc., when we first opened up from our fellowship program. Then we have community residents tilting the ground so that we can get started with our planning. So it's just to show that how the community helped make this happen and how it's important that we take ownership of where we live.
Yeah, we have amazing transformation.
And we also,
And stewardship really does just bring people together in so many ways, right?
yes, it does. And we also have, we also have a health and safety fair every year. So we didn't have it when the pandemic first started. So we started back, this will be our 14th annual health and safety fair, where we have our street blocked off between Moffett and Warren on Belvedere, where we have various health agencies come out and help people with their health and wellness, because a lot of people don't go to the doctor like they should, and they'll be able to get them started with health insurance and do, tests on them to let them know what direction that they need to go to try to stay healthy. And we're doing that August the 17th on Belvedere. And also, we were blessed to purchase a trailer, which you can see on one of our lots, and we just got it turned around. This is going to be our hub, a real existent hub where people come out and get information. We have workshops. do, projects. And then in front, we have our garden where we're gonna have cooking demos. So this really helps us to have indoor space as well, where it could be somewhat of a homework hub. And it's a good impact for the community. And as you can see, this is the before picture where it was nothing there to we made a great improvement to now. So it really matters to have space in the community where everybody can come and join together and work on ways to take ownership of where we live. And it works out real well, with the community and the children to understand how important they are and what input they have in the projects and in the community and proud of where they live. So it really is really an important thing to be able to come together in the community and work together, and it really pays off. It really pays off just to see the good work that we done together.
All right, thanks, Tam.
And thank you, everyone.
No, and if anyone has questions, feel free to. In the chat, or we'll have some time.
I have lived in my community since 1967. I remember my neighborhood was so beautiful. My mother had a flower garden. My dad had a vegetable garden. When some of the neighbors has passed away, the homes became abandoned, caught on fire, and moved out of the neighborhood. In 2012, Hutchinson Elementary School closed its doors. I was so disappointed that the change had happened to our beautiful neighborhood. In 2016, I became a member of the Eastside Community Network. In 2016, and then in 2017, I signed up for a program with the Child Power Initiative Health Program. I met my neighbor, Danny Dolly, the rain guard class, and I made a butterfly shaped rain guard in my yard. So many of my neighbors gave us compliments of what we had did. Danny, he was unable to purchase purchase a lot on Ogle Street. So he asked me, can he use my lot to put his project on? And I said, yes. So I helped him with his project. Danny suggested that I start a garden club on Nextdoor app. At that time, I was at school, but when I got home online learning, I was able to do that because I had time to create this Nextdoor app for the garden club. So I named it Little Detroit Garden Club. Danny wanted to recruit residents and volunteers to help him with his project. And I just wanted to have some positive to talk about because COVID-19 was, everybody was talking about COVID-19 and I didn't want to talk about COVID-19. And usually when you talk about flowers or plants, you feel happy. It just changed the atmosphere. So that's what I wanted to do. So we was 8 people who had joined our members, our club. And I thought I did it in April and I thought it was gonna stop in October, but people just kept on through the winter time and just kept on talking about flowers, kept on talking about plants, and it's been going on over 2 years now. So I was really impressed about that, what happened with them being with them still continue to sign up for the garden club and continue to want to talk about flowers. And I was inspired with Danny did his project. So I applied to do my project and I wanted a safe outdoor environment for us to have block club meetings, neighborhood events. And if somebody just want to come and do a prom send-off, they're welcome to come do the prom send-off. So I did a gazebo that had brick pavers. The brick pavers were donated and the flowers, the Michigan native flowers was donated also. And also, I also got a donated Linden Library that was donated and then donated books. So I'm a member of the Kiwanis that's a book club that you can go get free books for your community for the children to read. So, and now I'm getting ready for that's me planting the Michigan native flowers, cleaning up I got four flower planters around it, and that's our vegetable garden. We have a vegetable garden also, and the vegetable garden, the neighbors have the opportunity to come and plant their own fruit, vegetables, or they can come and get free fruit and vegetables from our garden. And a raised bed out of pallets, and you put the plastic, and then you put the dirt down, and you can put the flower, your plants in the ground. And then, oh, yeah, that's another rain garden too behind there that Denny had made. But now, that's my granddaughter. She's helping put the cardboard down. So we put the cardboard down. So we put the mulch so the grass won't grow through, so it can kill the grass. So we put the mulch down. Now that's a person off of my garden clubs. It's the volunteer came to help us. So we had several people who could volunteer to help us with the cleanup for the Little Detroit Community Garden. And that's Donna. She did lasagna garden, which you put the cardboard down, then you put some vegetables, then you put some dirt, and you do it just like a lasagna. So they call it a lasagna garden. And that's Miss Gasson. Yeah, she's Miss Gasson. She has been working for the community over 30 years. So she's a mentor in our neighborhood. And that's Miss Gardner. She pouring the dirt on the cardboard. One of my neighbors too. And that's Danny, he's a co-founder of the project that's in the middle. And I'm planting some collard greens, putting holes and planting some collard greens. And that's Shirley, who's helping us also with the shed that Danny had built.
That's awesome. Is there anything else you want to dive into?
Yes, and also we have an event, like I said, for Rise Detroit Neighborhood Day, where we come together and with the community, and we're gonna have outside door games. We're gonna have raffle. We'll have food. We're gonna have Easter market. Go donate some fruits and vegetables. We're gonna have resource tables as far as the library, recycling, and talking about rain gardens. And we're gonna be able to hand out books to the community to make their own rain gardens at home. If they choose to make a rain garden at home, they'll be able to.
Thanks, Loretta. I'm gonna pass it now to our other ECN colleague, Bethany Howard. And I also want to note, we don't ever like to do things alone. We like to do things in community. That's why there's so many of us on this webcast. But I'm just glad you all are getting to meet everyone. So Bethany, go ahead.
Awesome. So just to reinforce community, some of our future directions in elevating resident leaders and building stewardship capacity. The following slides will cover some of the great work that our resident leaders are a part of, along with our climate equity team. These initiatives elevate the work of resident leaders like Tam and Ms. Loretta and build stewardship for them, ourselves, and the community at large. In addition to our lead programming, our Eastside Climate Action Coalition meetings are held on the second Wednesday of every month. If you would like to join us tonight, for instance, at 5 Eastern Standard Time, please let us know, and you can see firsthand how we push policy advocacy for climate and community health equity. Our residents learn about climate change impacting the Eastside, some important factors are like flooding and air pollution, shaping local and state policies, emergency preparedness and recovery, and building community power. In today's meeting, we will be discussing the topic of health, safety, and resilience in a changing climate and uplifting our Resilient Eastside initiative. To focus on our Resilient Eastside initiative, our resident stewards and leaders are the core of what will make our resilience hubs thrive. By using their lived experience and expertise to discover the best features for resilience hubs and to learn what situations would encourage the community to use resilience hubs, along with staying safe and resilient during weather emergencies, and to just have a general community space. The Resident Climate Corps is a pilot program that consists of community and sustainability leaders, some which, like Tam, were also elite sustainability fellow who lived in the area as well. This This flyer here is an example of one of our resilient core members. She's having an art fair on the 15th. So that's just an example of some of the exciting projects that are going on, along with other projects that we have in motion and currently are engaged in the work that supports climate resilience and recovery on the east side. So such we have another community member named Lawan, who's focusing on FEMA appeals with people who experience flooding. Danny Dolly, who's partnered with Loretta, who's holding bike tours of the Conner Greenway. Shatan, who's doing her art gallery with recyclable materials. And also our youth that is focused on presenting an article about Stellantis and air pollution. And then if you would like to stay in the loop and learn more about what's happening here at Eastside Community Network, please, please, please sign up for our weekly leap alerts to stay updated on all events that are happening here, all resources that we have, and any projects such as the ones Miss Loretta and Miss Tam are, have going on the east side. So you see that link there. Please sign up for our leap alerts just to stay in the loop to see what's going on here on the east side of Detroit. And then we would like to thank you for listening to our presentations. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. And then all of our information is there. There's our website, so you can see all the other programming that's going on at ECN. And then you can email Tim, Loretta, Ricky, Erin, or myself, and we will make sure that we have all the answers for you. And if we can't get them, we'll definitely find someone that will help us get those answers to you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you to the whole people at ECN for just great sharing of your awesome programs and the work that you've done. People are dropping into the chat like, wow, what amazing transformations. That's so cool. Awesome. And one of the questions that I have, maybe Tammara and Loretta, if you can speak a little bit to, as you were saying, you've been in the neighborhood for a long time and the transformation, you've watched the pendulum swing, right? And so what's it like for residents, I mean, who have been there for a long time, seeing the work that you're doing, and what's the kind of general outlook and attitude and engagement for people there?
Like for me, Tam, with my residents, they really are excited because our community used to be full of houses and families, and now we have a lot of vacant land, and they're really glad to know that it's something that we can do with it and be able to work together to kind of make our community look back, halfway nice like it used to be. And they're really excited because they just didn't think, okay, well, if we have all these vacant lots, what we gonna do? So we all came together and we talked about it, and people were saying, okay, well, gardens and community space, and it really worked out because they're really happy. They said, oh, I love when I open my door and I look out at the garden. Or if I'm walking up the street and I get tired, it's somewhere I can sit down. Or, it's just a real relaxing space for them because I look out my door and I see a lot of my neighbors just out there just relaxing, sitting on the grass, or they're talking, or they have little community things, like family events, and they don't have enough space in their yards. They use the space, and it's really being used. And like the other night, they like to play horseshoes. And mosquitoes, they're real heavy when it started to get dark. They started the fire pit, and it was just real nice to just see that you don't have to go to Belle Isle or the Chandler Park, which they're nice places too, but we have the nice things in our neighborhood that we can utilize and have fun. And with the putt-putt golf, they love that. A lot of people like, oh, that is so nice. All they will think about is how people have basketball rims. No, we don't have a basketball rim, but we do have a putt-putt, and it's more relaxing. And it's just a real wonderful thing to know that we can bring that type of stuff into our community and take ownership. And they really love it. So that's how I came about, because I've been over there all my life. And I done seen it looking good, and I done seen it looking, not the same. Things have really changed. And it's people that used to live over here that come back over in our community to be a part of this work that we're doing.
That has to be so rewarding, right?
Yeah,
and it's just like we were talking about with Tony, who was out in a natural area earlier in the webcast, when just seeing that transformation, you see the same thing there, and it's just so rewarding.
Yes, it is.
Loretta, anything else you want to add to that?
Oh yes, my community, they are so excited and happy because they have never seen a rain garden shaped as a butterfly. So it was just so amazing for them to see something that I designed and created. They have Michigan native plants. And I also let them know that how Michigan native plants helps with infrastructure. It brings back the bees and the butterflies and the monarchs and all the type of bird, and you can hear the birds singing in the morning time. So they just love when they either walk past or wave. And then a lot of times they say, hi, Miss Flower Lady, or hi, Miss Gardener. They call me a gardener or something like that. And they also, we had vegetables like collard greens and tomatoes, they was able to, we gave them free tomatoes and collard greens in the garden. And then some people came and donated some flowers, and we planted their flowers in the garden so they could see their flowers to grow. So they love the how it's transforming the neighborhood, because they start keeping their grass cut. They start picking up trash more. They start trimming the trees more. It's just, they start smiling. And I grew closer to my neighborhood. I grew closer to my community, from the Eastside Community Network project that I have did. So they're very excited, and still they are more excited. I got another project I'm doing across the street that I've just bought a lot at 5026. And I plan to put like 3 black chalkboards there, some benches for the children, a sandbox for the children, and also some solar lights, for the children to play, because the school used to be down the street from me. It's closed. So they really don't have no safe environment place to play. So I'm very excited about doing that project also, but they are really, they got closer. It just changed the atmosphere in the neighborhood. People are smiling more. I'm proud of where I live now. I don't want to move now.
Yeah.
But I don't want to move. I am very proud where I live at, in a good stock community. I think, the Eastside Community Network is a good support for our communities and helping us to grow. I have been on the radio station with 9, 10 a.m. talking about the community. So I have, I have a lot of opportunities that I've been doing since I'm connected with the community in ECN. So yes, I'm very happy. I'm very happy with me.
Congratulations. That's so exciting to see that transformation. And then, like you say, it's contagious for people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So a couple different other things, questions from the chat. Is there a way to donate? So I want to make people aware who are not paying attention to the chat that that question has been answered. There's a website and there's a link if you want to donate to your projects. And then another question is that you've shared so much already, and just the stories of the generations, right? Of the little kids playing to the older people planting and remembering things. But do you have a favorite memory or moment from your work? Those pictures were incredible. I'm sure there are great stories behind them.
I remember when I was, because we had a garden, a vegetable garden in a lot. So I remember just being in the garden with my dad and trying to walk through the garden. And he's like, don't step on those vegetables now. You got to stay, because they had the lines back then. They had the lines. Then they had the raised beds, like we got the raised beds now. So yeah, and the memory that my mom used to plant beautiful flowers. So that's how I love flowers. I got so many flowers around my house. Michigan native plants, yes, I love flowers. So those are good memories. Like I said, I named my mother first name was Little. So in her remembrance, I named the garden Little. That's why I chose Little Detroit Community Garden. From my first name. So yes.
That's great. And I love gardening with my dad too. That's always our Father's Day. It's our Father's Day. Because I have all brothers. So my brothers all get celebrated as their fathers. So I always do Father's Day with my dad. Tammara, any other favorite memory that you want to share?
Yeah, and my favorite memory is when I was growing up, my mother, she always was active in the community, and she loved us and she loved the kids in the community. And then when I started having children on my own, I started being in the school like PTSA, LSCO, just being in a lot of the parent groups and just seeing how important and stressing how important our children are and paying attention to our children's needs. And I had a lot of parents that wouldn't really come to the school and be a part, but once they saw the valueness and how I cared and other people cared, then they start coming in and you know, it was just babies just trying to love each other. You know, how important our children, that's the number one thing, how important the community is and how they watch our children and how we need to respect each other. Respect the community because the community can help save your child, you know, and it's just really helped. And I just watch how my mother did things. I mean, really, she was on all the boards and it just really, my heart just went out. Because I love my children and I love everybody, you know, and especially these children, they need guidance. And then I started getting with Eastside Community Network. I've been with Warner County, which was Warner County back then, now it's Eastside Community Network. And then they kind of helped me with more leadership skills. And it just go on and on and on. I could talk all day about how it's to my heart that this gift that God gave me, it really is a passion for me to know and to let parents know how we can all work together and raise our children to be productive citizens and learn things, even with gardening. You know, gardening is very important, you know, and the kids need to learn that because we need to learn survival skills, you know, and this is just, like I said, this is just a passion that I always had because this is what I grew up with my mother. We had we had in our dining room when I was coming up, my mother had a phone in the middle of the dining room wall, a phone jack. And she was City of Detroit Ombudsman office. She made an ombudsman office in our dining room for the community, you know, with community resources and stuff. So that was just something that really attracted my attention. I just sit there and watched her. And then I started having my own family. And it's just important that we take ownership and we teach our children and we love on them and we pray for them. And then I just started working with, this is like my 4th generation of youth and families in my organization with the Belvedere Youth Block Club. And then I have What About Us Inc. So that's how it all started.
It is so amazing. And it's so, as one of our listeners said, I'm getting emotional hearing you speak about it. You're an inspiration. It's so important. Yeah. Opportunities that we. Loretta, did you want to share something else? Did I see a hand?
Yes, I want to say something. Last year, because I work for the Detroit Public Schools, I'm a teacher assistant in the Detroit Public Schools, and we did props. We was talking about gardening. So I brought my gardening tools to the classroom for the 4-year-olds. So we have 4 and 5-year-olds preschool, and they was able to plant up flower in a cup, show them how to put the dirt, put the seeds in there and cover it up and talk about gardening. So they were very excited about learning about gardening. And plus we also have raised beds at our school that the older kids are able to plant things and learn about gardening too. Because when you just put your hand in the dirt, it's just so relaxing. It's so peaceful when you just can get in touch with just touching the dirt and moving it around. So, and then it's a stress reliever too. So it's really great to just do some type of gardening. It's healthy for you because no chemicals is on your vegetables or your fruit. So I just enjoyed going out to the garden, picking my collard greens. I did broccoli for the first time this year, and I made me a pasta salad out of the broccoli. My cauliflower has grown. That's different too. My brother planted watermelon and pumpkins. The pumpkins he did. So it's just been an exciting journey for me to just learn about gardening and taste of how fresh the fruit and vegetables coming from the garden. And also I got two donated apple trees, 1 apple Chris and 1 Fuji. So I'm very excited about when the apples will grow on the tree. So it's a good experience. It is very exciting. I can't hear.
Oh. Yeah, it really is. It's always a miracle, right? You just put that little seed in that cup and it grows, and then you're eating pasta salad later on. It's just, I love it. Another question that comes in is, what was a challenge? What was a challenge around that you experienced in getting the community engaged, and kind of how did you overcome that, or how did you deal with that? How did you address that?
Well, when it came to my community, I much so know how they are, and what we did was, they're not like come out and go different places for meetings, but I found out that I can bring the meeting to them. I can bring the resources to them. Because a lot of them is not that type, they're not them type of neighbors. If we're gonna do something, I send out, we all sit down, we talk about what we want to do, we plan what we gonna do it, and then I get out there and then here they come. Everybody start coming. You know, so it's not like, you know, they're meeting goers. Only what they like about it is that they don't have to go off the block in order to get information. You know, I bring information and they don't have to, you know, all the resources. We have meetings on the block. And, you know, it's just a real good thing where they can just step out their door and just come up a few steps or come outside to the community, you know, space and get good information. Just like we have a lot of good programs going on with home repair and things like that. That was really exciting. They love that because a lot of people need that home repair and help with their bills and stuff. So it's just being a access to my community with information and working together. That's mainly what we do to get the job done.
That's so great, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the challenge was for us was because of COVID-19, because people were scared about to come and volunteer, and we had very few people who did volunteer, but we were still able to get our project done, you know, and it took a little longer, but we still got our project done. So even when I just said, I forgot about my virtual cooking matters class that I just had, and I had a 9 sessions of it. This one lady was so happy that she came on to the class because she said when she started cooking the menus out of the cookbook, her glucose stayed down. Everything stayed down because that's how parents did back in the day. They looked in the cookbook and did your menus. We didn't buy foods, you know, all by processed food. So I was happy to hear that they enjoyed the 10 people that was there. They enjoyed the Cooking Matters class. They learned things about what to eat and what not to eat and what's best for them. So that was a great experience for me to hear that so many people benefit from the virtual Cooking Matters class. So it just ended, but it was, and I learned some things myself. So that was good.
Yeah, no, it's one of the things that I love about putting on some of these kinds of things is I get to learn them too, right?
Right.
Yeah. So another question, I think Tam, I think you're the one who got the trailer, right?
Yes.
So great to now have an indoor space. How did that come about?
I did have a hub that was located on Warren and Belvedere on the corner of our block. And what it was that it was a lot of steps. So it was very challenging for our seniors and this, you know, people are gifted and our talented people that, you know, wheelchair stuff to get up the steps. So my son has said, well, Mama, I'm gonna look on the marketplace and I bet you we're gonna find a trailer or something. So my son, he told me he looked in Iron, Michigan. He found the trailer and God made it possible for me to purchase it. And then I had the trailer brought to me and it was like last year. So we had it like the long way because when they brought it, it was a lot of snow on the ground. So they couldn't turn it around. So we just got it turned around. So now this is when we're gonna start having our indoor stuff because we used to have a hub where we had computers, we helped with homework, we had workshops, you know, cooking, you know, the kids would cook for the community and then the residents would come up there and eat and come to the workshops, movie night. We had a lot of activities going on in our community hub. So now we're able to start back up again because we have another indoor space. So right now we're getting it together. We're gonna have the DTE and stuff turned on and we're gonna be doing outside and inside workshops. So God made that possible.
Yep. Any words of wisdom from any of you, this comes from the chat, or advice for people who want to start something similar in their community?
Build a relationship with your neighbors. Building a relationship is the first key to starting some in your community. And get to know your community. You know, find out what location, just like we found out about ECN. We have so many resources to help. You know, when things happen, just like when the flood came about, I was helping distributing, making a package for the flood for the people and passing out flyers. So it just stay in touch with people, build a relationship with your neighbors and stay and get many resources because I get resources to my school, our neighbors, my family. I'm just a resource paper. Once I find out resources, I just spread it out to everybody, put it on Facebook, my next door app. So I just say, build that relationship, be kind, love your neighbors, and, respect each other, and go from there.
That's great advice.
And that's the same thing that I say too, you have to build that relationship. You have to let people know that their input really matters. When you let them know that their input matters and you do care about how they feel and things that they want to see, and then you have gave them resources like I always say, Eastside Community Network, because I thank God for them.
Yes.
And then, Good Stop, we have all of these different helpful organizations that really love the community. And they make, and they kind of help you, when you're lacking, because like I said, I'm not rich. I'm not financially able to do everything, but I try my best. And if I don't have it, I go and ask for help. But my neighbors are really, really confident, and they're really excited because they see that people do care. People care about us. They say, I didn't think nobody cared. Yeah, people do care.
Right.
And I let them know we love each other. We are a community family. Like I told them, I said, we never know what we might have to run somewhere to save our lives together. So we need to work together and it'll work. And it's been good ever since.
Yes, it has.
And having all these organizations that love us and love the community, that's even more.
Yeah.
Right.
It really,
Also, it's just been amazing for me because I was able to speak at the Detroit Home Repair Fund with Dan Gilbert and DTE and Promonica. So that was a great experience to have the opportunity to do that. So that's why I say things I would never, if I wasn't connected with the community, I would have never been involved in it.
Yeah, it's
Right.
right.
And helping people with their foreclosure, make sure they foreclosure, when they're property tax, get off the list, get their names off the list, writing letters. So that was just a great experience, canvassing in the neighborhood. And that's when I seen how many houses that need to be repaired because I was canvassing the neighborhood and passing out applications so their name can get off the foreclosure list.
great. Well, I want to thank you all, Tammara and Loretta, for sharing your work and for the work that you do in the community. To Erin, Bethany, and Ricky at the ECN team, thank you for helping us pull this together. As Phyllis says in the chat, thanks for all your inspirational and incredibly important work as we kind of come to the top of the hour here. I just want to say thank you to you all. Congratulations on your amazing work. Thank you all online for joining us. And thank you all and congratulations to the Spring Challenge participants. Great results. As we said, the most participants we've ever had, more than 7,000, over 25,000 people have participated in this over the years. Next month, you will be back. So not only does LEAP have a second Wednesday meeting, but so does the Stewardship Network. On each and every second Wednesday of the month, you'll find us here at the Eastern Time Zone's noon hour. Next month, we'll be talking about bat monitoring made easy. So again, thank you to the ECN team, really appreciate it. And thank you all online. You will find us back here next month and on the second Wednesday in August. Looking forward to being with you then. Thanks.